Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We have Mike Shroades with us again for the third day in a row. Thank you for coming in.
It is good to be here, my friend.
And we had some negative comments on YouTube. People were mad that we were sharing so much info with everybody. And I was like, that's weird, right?
Yeah.
And then we were actually excited about it because it's driving more traffic to our channel.
Right. That makes sense, right? Just thank them and move on, Andrew. Tell them thank you for being an idiot. I appreciate it.
Or don't say anything and let them keep doing it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you might mess up your marketing.
Well, if you're watching this, if you would like to leave a comment as we're going through this, we would appreciate it because it does drive traffic to us, which helps us reach more people, which helps us recruit more people.
That's right.
And that's a rule on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. There's a little marketing tip for you guys. Now, you have a guest today. If you can introduce him for us.
Yeah, this is Daniel Broadway.
What's up, guys?
How do you not smile when that comes on?
I know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's like an instant smile.
Yeah.
So Daniel has been with me a little shorter than his dad, Daryl. He came on about, 2-3 months after your dad did?
Yeah, that's right.
He was in real estate, came over, joined our team, just really killed it. One of the things I want people to get with Daniel is he went through a lull, and not a bad lull. He was struggling between doing ministry and doing this business. Yep. And he had a real struggle. And he and I, being in ministry, I was able to walk him through that and let him hit rough patches. And we grew as friends during that time as well. So he's a hardworking young man, and I think the world of him. And I think everyone's going to like him today.
You kind of remind me of like a UFC fighter.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now, so tell us a little bit about what happened. You were in ministry. You were struggling to get out to start Family First Life, or scale back to start Family First Life.
Actually, vice versa.
Yeah. So whenever I started in Family First Life, I ended up immediately going full time. Real estate wasn't panning out for me at all, so I just went both feet in, just completely took the dive and went. And I ended up, finishing my test in like 4 days. Licensed 2 days after that. Contracting maybe took a week and a half. Listened to everything I think Mike had told me to do, everything that all the advisors had asked me to do, just to the T. Just did exactly what they told me to do because I couldn't believe anything else. So I was just going for it. And after what Mike had told me about the business, I was more than excited to just at least give it a shot and just say, hey, I want to prove this to myself. And first month I got into it, I worked full time. I think I maybe issue paid $5,000, not very much. Second month, I issue paid $5,000. Third month, I think that's when things really started to click, right around that 90-day mark or so.
Okay.
I ended up having $22,000 deposited in my checking account, and the month after that, it was a little over $24,000 deposited in my checking account after that. And third month was just about the same. And fourth month after that, I completely turned into what Mike calls a secret agent, and I just kind of fell off and enjoyed the money that I was making and thinking that
you go to Disneyland?
Pretty much. Went to Disneyland.
Did you really?
No.
Oh.
No.
He got on a loop, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
What'd you do for fun?
I honestly, man, I had never made this type of money ever before. And being a 26-year-old at the time, I didn't know, what to do with all that type of money. So I just went out and spent it on whatever I wanted to.
Like what? I'm very interested.
So shoes.
What kind of shoes? That's a lot of shoes.
Yeah, favorites are Jordan 1s. Packed up a couple extra that I added to the collection. I like watches too. Just
what kind of watches?
Bulova. I grabbed a few Citizens just because I liked the way they looked. I went up, just picked up some new clothes, just something, just stuff that made me feel good. So you
got one of them on right now?
Do what?
Do you have a watch on?
No, believe it or not, I don't have one of those watches on right now. No, but I just spent my money on silly stuff. I didn't reinvest it back in the business. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just thinking that the opportunity was so simple for me to do. I could just, do it whenever.
Now, do you have family to take care of? Kids, anything?
No, it's just me.
I love that though. Because this is a great opportunity for anybody. But it is a weird thing that I think everybody gets this weird thing where they think that it's so easy that it's just they're gonna pick right back up and they can take as much time as they want off and they're gonna make that same 20K whenever they want.
That's right.
But you lose your momentum, and then what happens?
Well,
The doom loop.
yes, the pit of despair, as we call it. Chargebacks start coming in. You don't have enough money to buy leads. Then you start losing that mental momentum that you've got, and then all of a sudden it's weird. Every client in the home tells you no. It's weird. But after that, you start saying, I start calling Mike up, and I'm like, Mike, I thought you liked me. I thought we were friends. Like, what was going on with this, you know? But I mean, the problem was just me. I just wasn't staying consistent with the business at the time.
You think you were desperate?
Oh, at that time, absolutely. Because during that time was rolling out, and I ended up taking the break that I did. I ended up coming up with about, I think it was $10,000 or $15,000 in chargebacks in a week and a half, and it was all through one carrier.
It's weird that chargebacks come in like waves, you know?
Usually right as soon as you stop working.
Yeah. No, but they come in like waves. Like they'll come 1, 2, 3 in a row.
Yeah,
It's odd.
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
It's like they call each other and say, "Hey, I'm gonna cancel.
Yeah.
You want to cancel
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
Let's cancel on
Yeah.
it."
And that ended up happening, and then I just I got very desperate. That's a great word for it. Most definitely, I got desperate.
And how'd you overcome all this and get back to where you're at now?
So I really relied heavily on Mike for that, and anybody that's talked to me that'll just pull me aside or whatever. I've said it at a couple of conferences before, but Mike was gracious enough to let me make the mistakes that were necessary to allow me to grow and be able to succeed in the business. So as hard as it was for Mike, because anybody that knows Mike Shroades knows that he is hands down one of the most caring, loving, kind people and most generous people in the company.
That's what I said. I said he's the nicest dude I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me and Sean have been having a talk about that because I'm sick of having that reputation. I said, Sean, you need to get the word out. Just don't let my kindness be taken for weakness.
Yeah.
And I know.
But thank you guys.
And I know that I know that he and I had actually had some pretty candid conversations about this later on. But he was telling me through this time, man, it broke my heart whenever I had to do this. But I knew it was going to help you in the long run. And he ended up going through his process and really allowing me to go through mine to just basically make the decision if I wanted to make this thing work or not, and if I wanted to work this thing to my full potential, if I wanted to give it everything that I had at the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, where did the ministry thing come in?
Yeah. So after I ended up after a few more conversations with Mike, I remember I had actually called him from my office in my house, and I said I was like boohooing and crying. I said, Mike, is there a way that you can actually make money at this thing? And then he laughed at me and he said, absolutely.
Now, this was after you took a bunch of time off.
Yeah, this was after. So it was that conversation after Mike just kind of laughed at me and said, yeah, not laughed at me, but laughed at the thought that I thought I couldn't make money at this thing after what I'd already done. And he said, yeah, of course you can. Just put your head down, go to work. And in Mike Shroades fashion, he said, just keep chopping. And that's what I did. And in about, I think it was 2.5, 3 weeks later, I had that entire $10,000 paid off.
Wait.
And it was right after that I got an offer to go into a leadership opportunity at one of the churches, or at the church that I was attending at the time. And it was an opportunity I couldn't turn down, opportunity I couldn't miss. And it was a time for me to be able to reinvest in myself, take a time to, really devote to my faith, devote to the church, the community, and really just get better, become a better, they called it a leadership conference. So basically in that term, become a better leader and take time to grow for myself.
Did you do it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you took a break.
Well, I worked Family First Life part-time,
Okay.
and it was for 3 semesters during the leadership course. So that took about a year. Mm-hmm. And I was in that course for about a year. So I was at the church and in these classes for anywhere from 4 to 5 days a week. And I was working Family First Life really Like I was dialing one day, some days I was running one day, some days I was running 2 days. And throughout the entire time of that year, I still managed to issue pay a little over 160,000 that year.
Part-time?
Part-time. Yes, sir.
What do you think you made total?
What do you
Like
mean?
net deposits in your account?
Oh, I mean, I'm assuming I had over 100 drop in my account.
100 saved up or 100 deposited?
100 deposited.
100 deposited.
Yeah.
And what's the biggest thing you learned in that time?
Consistency is huge. Now, I want to make sure I answer you properly. I apologize, but are you talking about in reference to the
Both.
class or?
Yeah, like did anything in your ministry leadership program, did you apply any of that to selling insurance and helping people? And if so, what was it?
Absolutely. The main one for that was really taking the investment necessary in the people that we're really, called to reach and called to help, not just clients, but individuals as a whole. Like presenting this opportunity to somebody else, I feel like if you don't do it now, you're just selfish. Like for what we do now, as far as hiring somebody and bringing somebody on, if you don't at least tell them about it, because I'm not going to be the guy that's sitting across from you in that leadership course, and you're gonna say, "Hey, yeah, Daniel, I know you. Yeah, what are you doing now?" Yeah, I'm working at Family First Life. Issue paying $30,000-$40,000 a month sometimes. I mean, it's absolutely incredible opportunity. I don't want them to be the people that come back and tell me, "Well, why didn't you tell me about this? I could have done this too." So, not just that, not just the people that I know close to me, but everybody that everybody that I come in contact with. Now it's like Uber drivers, servers, anybody that I've got the opportunity to tell this thing about, I want to. Not just from for lack of a better term, from a pressure to hire or whatever, but I want to. Like, I care, like, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Somebody cared enough about me to tell me about the opportunity, so it'd be selfish if I didn't care enough about them to at least tell them about it.
And I got to say, what he learned at the church about leadership has actually been priceless for our team. Because now when I'm trying, you learned this in church, and when I was in church work, you tell someone to do it, well, you're the pastor, they'll listen to you, but won't do it, right? But you tell their friend, hey, can you get them to help us do this at the church? Well, Daniel's kind of become that guy for me in the business. When I don't feel like I'm getting through to people, I give Daniel a nudge and he gives them a nudge. Andrew, it's amazing because they're following because his leadership has gotten that good and they respect him as a leader within our organization, that now I actually sometimes just tell Daniel and he tells them. And,
That's cool.
And they move.
What else did you learn?
Man, there was so much. We went over different communicating skills. We learned really about knowing your audience, knowing how to present something to somebody, really learning, I mean, not to be cliche, but really learning how to lead. And the overall basic synopsis of it was, obviously leading from a Christian standpoint, of course, but, leading from a standpoint of being able to care about people. So the overall gist of that is, I know we hear the saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I mean, that's true, man. If you take one simple investment in somebody else's life and just ask them a question, ask them about how they are, or ask them something simple, like not even about work or whatever, and you let them know that you care about them, I'm under full impression and full belief that they'll run through a brick wall for you just because you know that you care about them and you've got their best interest at heart.
Yeah, he's got a very calm, like, I could see people buying insurance because he's so calm and communicates well.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys feel like helping people with insurance can get addicting?
Well, yeah, because if you have I'll answer this.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. And I want you to. This is an interview with you. If you'd like to serve people, number one, that's what we do in this. We have an opportunity to serve people, to help clients. They've requested our help. That's when we buy a lead. They've requested help. We help them. And at the same time, man, Andrew, things that I've always wanted to do in the ministry that I never could do. And do you know the number one reason I couldn't do it? Money. Now, I don't have to ask people. I can do it.
Like what?
Like if I want to give $10,000 to a ministry, I just do it. to help them. Like, when I see Pastor Matthew, at the Dream Center, and I knew him, he inspired me to do what he does 20 something years ago. And Sean and I was talking about how it's come full circle. And now I'm in a place financially, and I have a team of people that also are kind of, that think a lot like I do about helping other ministries and things like that. And now we can give and make an impact that I couldn't make 6, 7, 8 years ago.
And how long have you been with FFL?
4 years. April 1st will be my first policy.
What do you make a year?
Over $500,000.
Over $500,000. What's your net income?
I'd say you when you're saying net, you're saying how much I'm bringing home.
Yeah.
After business
after your expenses.
It'd probably be $250, $300 after expenses and everything this year.
So you're running a business. You have staff, lead stuff, offices.
Yeah.
But you're going to keep $253.
Yeah, that's probably about what I'm paying taxes on.
And you got it.
Yeah.
And you probably live a pretty fun life too.
I do, but I put a lot of money. I am committed to this. I'm putting our bank account goes scary low sometimes. I'm putting money into the business. I'm trying to grow this. But yeah, I mean, if we want to go do something, we can. And it wasn't like that 4 or 5 years ago, Andrew. We had to, we wrote a check on a Friday hoping I had enough money Monday to cover it. And we just don't live like that anymore.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, yeah.
Now, when it comes to hiring people and giving somebody the ability to do part-time and transition into full-time, do you tell people your story, how you started part-time and did that?
I do. It's real. I mean, why wouldn't I? Because, I mean, if, like, people, what I found in my experience, like, I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer to this, but this is just what I do. I mean, I tell them about the mistakes that I made beforehand. I tell them that I started off really consistent and all of a sudden not consistent at all. And then I ended up taking breaks, and I tell them about the horror stories that happened to me before I even tell them about what I'm doing. And still yet, it ends up attracting people more so than not. But yeah, I'll tell them about what happened to me because, I mean, number one, people can always tell whenever you're not being genuine. People can tell when you're not being real.
They can.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, I feel like they can. And like people, even people that feel like they can't read people, they can always tell when you're being genuine or not. So I'll always tell them what happened to me, and I'm not going to hide anything from one of my agents. I'm not going to paint a prettier picture than what it is. Like it's hard work. It is hard. Through this whole process, I think I've worked harder at this than I've ever worked in my entire life. But this is the only opportunity where I've been able to say that this work that I'm putting in is more than worth it. Not just from a client side, but from a financial side, from a prosperity side, what I've been able to do. And the wealth I've not only been able to, put towards myself, but now be able to share with other people. There's nothing like it.
Yeah. That's cool, man. And how old are you?
Just turned 29.
So you're 29 years old. You've been at this for about 2 years.
About 2.5 years, something like that. Yes, sir.
What are your goals with the company?
I want to have $1 million agency by the end of the year.
I like that.
Some people say it's lofty, but other people have done it.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Why not
He had a crazy look in his eye right there. I'm like,
it's the new Dave Wichard standard.
Yeah.
But like, why not? Like, I've heard your story multiple times, man. Bagging groceries, right?
Yeah.
Bagging groceries to where you are now.
Crazy, right?
Like, why not me?
Yeah.
Why couldn't I do something like that? Why not anybody else on our team? Why not Mike? Why not,
everybody?
Yeah.
Really, everybody's got the opportunity. It's just who's going to work hard enough for it.
Dude, how about Trey Honeycutt?
I know. I'm so proud
Dude.
of him, man.
So, July 2017, he was making $15 an hour as a recruiter in our office.
Yeah.
Like, dude, and we had no money. We had no money. We were paying him $15 an hour. And then we kept doing the right thing, kept the message, all the core values of FFL. We just stayed the course. He decided to quit and build his own agency. So from $15 an hour, what, three and a half years ago?
I'm assuming.
Yeah, 3.5 years ago, $15 an hour. Now his bonus is $50,000 a month.
That's amazing. Good for you, Trey.
Yeah, man.
I know.
I
it's
love
the
him.
best
One of my
thing ever,
favorite.
dude.
Just sweet guy, man. I love him.
Yeah. Dude, but I'm just like, how
Yeah.
amazing. He showed me his check. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
that is amazing. And he just kept helping people, got through the hard times. Do you think that every business goes through like really good times and then hits some speed bumps or hiccups and then gets back to the good times again? Do you see your business growing that way?
Oh, mine is definitely like that in FFL.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of businesses, when they hit the speed bump, they wreck.
Yeah.
And they don't get back on track. And I think that is, honestly, that's attributed to Sean. Guys like you that have been with Sean the whole time. That, you know, when I hear Mark Mead talk and things like that, I think that is reflective of the leadership of the company, so that when we go through tumultuous times, we're out, you know, the leaders are out there leading the way, acknowledging the hiccup, acknowledging, hey, we just wrecked, but we got to fix the car and get moving. I see it 100%. Any good business, I mean, I look at business like a living organism. You know, it's got to be growing, and you're always going to have growth pains, regardless of you know what industry you're in. If you have a growing business, you're going to have pains.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make adjustments on the fly.
Yeah, love it. So if someone wanted to work with you, how would they contact you?
They can find me on Instagram, find me on Facebook, Daniel Broadway, or just text me, you know.
What's your phone number?
423-240-6639.
And where do you live?
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
And you guys have an office there?
We do.
So if someone's local there, they could come into your office.
Absolutely.
But if they're not local, you can help them virtually. They can plug into any other office in FFL, and you can still get them going and help them.
100%. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, if you're watching this, please reach out. If you're not licensed, if you're licensed, if you're work with a different company, if you are confused, not sure if this is for you, reach out and let's find out, you know? And then you don't have to have that regret of not knowing if you could have done something different. And the nice thing is I think the reason I love this is because there's no ceiling.
Yeah.
There's no ceiling. I
The
couldn't
lid is
imagine.
off. Yeah.
I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine working and having a lid on me.
Yeah.
The lid is off, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So thank you guys for coming in. Thanks for sharing. You have an amazing story. I look forward to seeing you do your $1 million a month. So.
Yeah.